And we are live, I think. Let's see here. I didn't have my mouse in the right place. There we go. Comments. We got to start there. I've seen people already in there. Hello, everyone. Who's ready for Pizza Thursday? I'm ready for Pizza Thursday. I don't think I'm having pizza today, though. My son is hanging out with his sister, so I don't think he may be having pizza right now, but it's not with me. Let's see. What do we have here? Got Cody here. Hey, Cody. Yes, the video on the rack build. Yes. Eating tacos and live stream. I'm gonna go with that's good life there. Hope we have some further details on lack of ZFS support in a bunch of server that they mentioned at Home Lab. I don't know what that's a J question. So I don't work at Ubuntu, and neither does Jay, so I don't know that we'll really be able to help about lack of support. Hello from New York City. Wells, UK. Portsmouth, UK. Erie, Pennsylvania. South Australia. Australia is just, it's a big place. I guess I don't know if you're asking, and I couldn't really tell you where. I know there's cities in Australia, but I don't know where the geography of those cities are, but it's a neat place. San Antonio. I can tell you're from Michigan because you said you live in a thumb. That's how we know that answer right there. Yes. Fun times indeed. I forgot to hit tweet. There you go. All right. Make sure I tweet things out. And I'm going to actually pull up what I tweeted out because I think it's worth bringing up right away. The patches that need to be done. And let's see. Let me pull up all these different things. We got to go here to the live stream. Then where's that bleeping computer article? Because we can talk about this real quick. Seeing as I tweeted it, I just got to drag the article over here. So it's shareable. All right. Hey, from Chicago. Houston. Next to Mission Control. Very cool. Brussels, Belgium. All over the place here. Sorry, we're going to share our screen. Chrome tab. Well, that's the QNAP one. That's not what I was looking for, but I can share it because the next one that I tweeted is going to be, I like they just reuse the same graphic, essentially. They just changed the name. So go over here. Synology warns of critical bugs in multiple. It's the same bug, by the way. It's yeah, it's definitely a new bug in there. Oh, hi from down on 94 in Milan, Michigan. Milan's really close to me. Well, it was QNAP again and Synology. And anyone who's using NetAtalk, that's actually where the problem is in the NetAtalk module. It's not exactly just a Synology, just a QNAP problem. It's more specifically this right here. And it starts with remote code execution on Western Digital PR4100 NAS. But the CVE is more specifically inside the AFP protocol. So this is where the problem is. And it's if you're using Apple, is it called Apple Filing Protocol? That seems like a weird name, but whatever. They found the vulnerability in this protocol. And so everywhere that protocol is used, besides the device they found it in, is where the problem is going to be. So yeah, that's it's going to be interesting. The lots of things have this vulnerability. And I had swallowed something a little bit wrong. There we go. I don't know if AFP is supported by Apple, but it's certainly supported by all these devices that have it. Matter of fact, TrueNAS. Let me see if I can pull up one. One of the things with TrueNAS is they updated for this already. They were actually of the NAS software, they all were affected by this. I'm trying to see if I can find the release notes for TrueNAS. Let's see, where are there release notes? Current release. I'm trying to find the release notes on there because there are release notes for this issue. Should be in here. There we go. So now I can share this screen. But here's an interesting comparison. Synology's got updates rolling out. QNAP, when QNAP gets around to it, we'll roll it out. But the updates that came from the people over at IX Systems, they were modified. This build is from 14 days ago, 2 weeks ago. So if you want to know, who's on top of it and who's secondary on top of it, which is Synology, and who the third place runner up is QNAP in terms of these three that I mentioned that I know were affected by this. But yeah, TrueNAS has a release for this same problem as well. But obviously theirs is, quite a bit. Oh, so my friend Ray just sent me some pictures. He's building his new studio as well. So nice. Sorry if I'm a little bit distracted occasionally. Getting something in your throat really distracts you and sets that on there. Anyways, but yes, the folks over at IX Systems were on top of it 14 days before it was in the news, because there are times when the patches weren't available. Well, now the patches are available. So this was 4/14. And when was the date that they released this write-up? March 24th. The write-up on it was on March 24th. So by then the patch was available, but it's still pretty reasonable to get the patches rolled out, compiled, and have an update. So TrueNAS is the winner in terms of getting it done fast. We'll definitely throw that out there, which is important because if there's a vulnerability, you would like to know if they're done fast. At least you sure hope so. Let's see. All right, bring it back over to here. What else? I had a couple things I wanted to bring up, so let's pull it in the title here. The hiring part, I put that in there because I posted on LinkedIn and Twitter for those of you that follow me there, that I don't have the exact job description done. I'm still working on it, but basically I need someone to help out with some of the social media stuff. DM me on Twitter, hit me up on LinkedIn. Or I posted on Facebook as well. So I guess wherever. I just want to bring that up. But, I'm easy to find on LinkedIn. I'm easy to find on Twitter. So that's a whole, in case anyone is wondering about why I put that in there. I just wanted to bring it up. I haven't figured out the full job description, but it's helping me not fully edit the videos, but repurpose the videos for other social platforms and take care of things like that. So you'll see what I posted on there. It's mostly helping me with the social media that I manage and everything else. All right. Wow. It was deprecated in 10.9. Why people using it? I don't know. Deprecated and still being used because people, I don't think I can't really share this, but I'll at least tell you what the ticket said. I don't want to share the ticket. But the ticket said, hey, we're trying to get Outlook installed on Windows XP. And I'm just like, yeah, we're trying to get the thing installed in XP. That's why it's still being used. So, hi from New Zealand, TLS web filtering. Keen to hear about this? Squid with a CN on end device, but students owning their own laptops, a VPN, 4.3 bypassing things. You got it. there's not much you can do about that. And this is where one of the things I wanted to do, and I'm probably going to just have to do a video on TLS and how certificates work. I'm trying to figure out where to start the video. I've been working on it. Let me log in. I hate Squid, by the way, in case anyone didn't know. I've talked about it before. But anyways, services, Squid proxy server, and share this screen. Share screen, Chrome tab. That's the right one. Yep. So yes, the TLS web filtering. I love Squid when it serves up as calamari. Yes. So Squid is a nightmare, but Squid is actually what lots of companies use. Even tools like Untangle, which has good web filtering features in it, they're using Squid. It's pretty much what's behind the scenes. They just put a whole lot of their special code around it so you don't see the raw Squid interface like you do inside of pfSense. But obviously the important part is that you have right here is a CA installed for the cert manager, which I've got a Squid cert installed, and then you got to install that on everything else. This is where people get really confused about how this works. And it's just there's not a way to do proper and good web filtering without intercepting it to do it and installing those extra certifications. So yeah, it's one of the problems where if you don't have the certificate installed, and let me actually pull up the computer where we've got this set up, and we're going to join it real quick so we can show you the certificate in it. Pull up my lab system here. So now I got to figure out how to share that screen. I think we go stop sharing, and then we actually just do a share for the whole window. Share screen, an entire screen. Screen 2, then we'll get the inception thing going, and then we'll do this. And then we're going to pull up something like, well, we're pulling up YouTube right now. Connection is secure. Certificate is valid. Certificate path. Oh, wait, this is the old one. Hold on. This one should have the right certificate in it. We were turning the certificates on and off, so I have to load different pages. There we go. And issued by internal CA, certificate path, view certificate, details. Hey, look, it's Tom's LTS certificate, internal CA signed certificate. This is part of the problem is you have to install certificates if you want any insight and inspection into the data. This is, people seem to frequently get confused, like, oh, you can just man in the middle it type thing. Like, no, this is why what TLS literally stops you from doing is just man in the middling any of this. So you need to install the certificates in each one. And I keep debating about doing a video about it because do I know how to install the certificates? Sure. I definitely know how to do it. But the question becomes, is it worth doing because of all the trouble that comes with this? It's a lot to manage. So intercepting traffic sounds like the user has a legal issue of privacy, or other people says, I did nothing. It was injected by a proxy admin. Not really. If you are using company equipment, you have, at least in the US, I don't know how it works elsewhere, but if you're using company equipment, there's not the same expectation of privacy within your equipment. And obviously this is where there's been attempts by governments in other countries to require an extra certificate to be installed so they can add things they want to the trust store. So it's a problem. You have to have that. And that's where a lot of people go, oh, so I just install cert. Yeah, except that also ends up breaking things. So you have to also whitelist a lot of things that don't get certs installed because of certificate pinning, and some devices or some sites have extra checks in there that they do not want third parties. A lot of the Google stuff is like that. Yeah, like some like right here. Agree with Tom. Paid solution solves many of the problematic with a raw squid. Many companies like I'm assuming you mean FortiGate, Sophos, they rely on squid as well. It's pretty much just running in the back end of all of these things here. So in your country, they're allowed to do it, but they must inform the employees. Fair enough. I think it should never be hidden. The fact if a company's doing SSL inspection, like when my wife worked at a big corporate company, the one she works at now, even they're very clear. You are being watched. Everything you do on here is logged. End of story. Don't do anything personal on here. It's not a personal computer. It is the company's computer you are using to do company tasks. If you would like to look something up, you will be letting and sharing that information with us. So they're pretty clear on it. Yeah. I noticed in your new pfsense videos, it comes with firewall settings. You stopped using the LAN net. Oh, I just renamed it. It's not really stopped using it. I just renamed it. If I recall correctly, it was implemented somewhere in Central Asia countries, Kazakhstan, and yes, they tried to get to where the country added a certificate. Yes. You can arbitrarily call things anything you want in pfSense. They're just defaulted to LAN and WAN, but you can rename them however you want. Very much like recording calls for companies. We're used to that. This call may be recorded for training purposes or whatever they throw in there. So, yes. You either have a form that you're fine with, you're forbidden from using the company's resources, hardware for any private use. Yeah. What's the best move for subverting hotel Wi-Fi blocking VPN? My current remote access VPNs are often blocked. I think they block everything from but 80 and 443. Just use a VPN over 443. Yes, that is the answer. Because companies, and this is not uncommon. Here's something I'm going to mention here inside of pfSense. So if we go over to, let me share that screen back again. Services or firewall rules. Here's an example of things you have to do. This is this blocks QIC, and that's one of those things you have to do is filter for that. Now, I did this basics. I'm going to do a basic video on how just so people have concepts of filtering work and clear up some misconceptions. But if you don't block UDP on port 80, it actually bypasses Squid. This is the solution a lot of companies use. Is Quick it doesn't work well with Squid. So their solution is, we just block the QIC protocol, which is 443 and 80, but they're UDP instead of TCP connections. Now, Quick is a better, more enhanced protocol. It's the HTTP2 or whatever you want to call it. It's the more modern protocol to use for transferring data, but it's harder to filter because it's all doing things over UDP, and Squid doesn't have a methodology to do it. So the answer to how do you stop it is you block it. And that doesn't seem like the best idea because it doesn't exist for an arbitrary reason. It exists to enhance the speed of the internet. And it's one of the reasons like Google uses Quick extensively. When you're on Google search or many other search sites and you're typing, that ability to autocomplete, that back and forth low latency connection is all facilitated via Quick with UDP. That's what allows you to have these really fast interactive websites with things. They're all just using the Quick protocol. But full SSL inspection means we got to grab that state TCP, run it through with a certificate inside of Squid installed in there so we can see what's going on inside of there, which of course is more problematic. So that's why more companies just start blocking everything. Matter of fact, they'll block all except, so they'll do inverted firewall rules at some places to keep you from getting around filters by blocking all ports except 80 and 443, and then they'll only do TCP, which is also where I'm getting at with your VPN question. You may have to change, which is less efficient by default, and the better way to run OpenVPN is via TCP. Via UDP, not TCP. So if you are doing this, you actually have to set your VPN to a non-default setting on a non-default port to get around that. And then if they have a better level of traffic inspection, 443 TCP doesn't always look like web traffic. So if they're actually taking the time to inspect the traffic going, hey, you're not sending normal web traffic, you then have to encapsulate the VPN even more to make it look like web traffic. There's actually ways to do that. It's a little tricky. It's not often used. Very few companies, not none, but few will go through that level of filtering. Usually they're just doing basic port blocking. So yeah, that's it is kind of a mess. So making firewall rules on the source field, does it matter if we put the network net? It does. Go into how rules work inside of pfSense, read their documentation, and they will tell you why you want to or why you don't. That's a write-up inside of pfSense's documentation for firewall rules. Does the announcement call may be recorded imply bidirectional so that the call may also allow it to record? I don't know. Yeah. Cincinnati, Ohio. Awesome. With Ubiquiti's constant supply chain problem, do you still recommend them for someone trying to build an entire prosumer level network? Here's the problem. There's a lot of people trying to buy Cisco stuff and they're telling them no problem, it'll be here in December. So it's not like there's an easy, cheap alternative that you can just drop in as a replacement. There's a lot of people are facing supply issues. I am working on, let me show you what I have. I should have had it in my reach, right? Ooh, there we go. I did grab, and I have some other switches that I'm going to be using for some videos. It's partly just to test some other equipment because people ask questions about it. But hey, look, it's an ingenious PoE with 10 gig. So I'll be reviewing this. So there are other switches out there I want to talk about. There's actually, I'm going to be talking about some used, well, slightly used. They're actually new in the box, but they're not new because they were surplus. In places you can find switches, because this is a problem that everybody's kind of experiencing right now. There's part shortages, so it's hard to recommend. Also, hands down, Ubiquiti makes it easier than many of these other companies. I have 4 switches here at my studio that I'm going to be doing demos on because I want to talk about VLANs on non-UniFi switches, because I want to show by logging into each of these switches how the VLAN works differently between each switch, because there's no interface. There's similarities, but there's not absolute consistency among interfaces, and none of them do it as easy as Ubiquiti, with the exception of TrendNet and their Omada stuff. So, yeah. So I tested Squid, WebSense, Pi-hole, DNS, not proxy, of course. Home users, the circle of 40 WebGuard varies because who owns the devices and guest network, and extra steps to install CA. Yeah, the extra steps to install CA is not going to, it's just not there. It's a pain in the butt. As a matter of fact, if you have some devices that are, it's not impossible, but more tedious to install it on things like your phone. So yeah, that's, this is one of those things. Like I'm not a big fan of having to install extra certificates in these things, or any of the devices if I don't have to. I have a whole breakdown I have a video I did where I break down all the software we use. This question comes up a lot. I started that video out with saying, this video is not for everybody, which of course seemed to bother some people, but I'm like, I know it's not. I have all the software we use all broken down in that video. I only posted it a couple days ago, maybe a week ago. It's called I'll drop a link to it real quick. Get shareable link. There's a video. And if you want to skip the video, I have a forum post in the video as well. So have I tested or used Extreme Network switches? No, I have not. Nothing by Extreme Networks. Modern next-gen firewall can rely on fingerprinting for specific application. You can use user own VPN ports so it might get blocked. Yes, they the fingerprinting with some level of accuracy is another thing. You can do this on Tangle, for example. You can have on Tangle, it looks at the SNI headers. So there are some things it can do with application fingerprinting and knowing the IP addresses. The bigger challenge and why that's always a paid feature, and people ask, why doesn't pfSense just build that in? Because you need to have the constant and ever-changing updates to what the fingerprints look like to understand, oh, it's going here or it's going there. That's, yeah, the way we handle web filtering, and back to the thing I referenced over there in that video, is we use a series of tools. Let me pull up the link itself, because this is something I did want to cover today. And there's a reason I make all these videos. And sometimes the video seems like lacking in context, but it's because it's a reply to people who keep asking the same invalid. They're asking a question, maybe the first time to the channel. So I like to have those ready-made answers because the question is not just simple. Share screen, Chrome tab. There we go. But yeah, this is a whole list in my forums of the tools we use for doing things. I haven't done a specific video on this, but this is the content filtering we do for the endpoint protection. So yeah, worth noting that I post all this in my forums and people can ask questions and everything else, because that's how we handle it. And it's because not everybody's behind a firewall. We manage remote workforces. They don't, individuals at home, we don't sell them a next gen firewall for every person. We have a client that has I think it's 90 people working remotely, and this is before pandemic. They had less people before, more people after, because they expanded and hired. Their business is growing, but they don't send every person with a firewall to put at their house. So what about Omada TP-Link for entry-level network? The problem with Omada that I've heard repeated, and I believe so, they're not as good on updates and end-of-lifing things, but for home stuff, it should be fine. Just keep an eye out for any problems that might be with there. So I don't think it's a terrible product. Is it possible to use UniFi controller locally running a remote Mac or a VPN remote when I log in a controller doesn't see AP status? You can configure it to work over a site-to-site VPN. That can be done. The UniFi controller, when you set up and do the adoptions, you just have to have everything set up matching so it knows where the controller is. So you can't just move the controller. You have to set the inform to be the IP address where it is. And that IP address can be over a VPN, so long as the devices are on a network that has access across that VPN, it can be done. Do that. Need more VAN info between manufacturers. They're very compatible with each other. They just all do it differently. That's why it's always such a pain to figure out what the nuance is for each one. Yeah, TrendNet are near identical errors. Let's see. And then pfSense is a way to block several ports with one firewall role. Actually, that's really easy to do. I'll show you how to do that. Just set up an alias. This is an alias, and this is an alias. That's an easy one to read. So if you go here and say aliases, port, so now I've blocked port 80 and 443. And then in the rules, it's there. And all you have to do is put in where it says like web ports here. I have a video on aliases, but you do it with aliases. Any good resources for learning firewall rules? It kind of depends on the firewall. So I don't know if I know how to, I've taught a lot of pfSense. That would be my place to start. Willie Howe loves extreme networks. What's your thoughts on IT documentation systems like Enable or Passport or IT Glue? IT glue is probably the more dominant one in the market. Passportal is pretty popular as well, and then there's Hoodoo. I'm not a fan of any of them. That's my opinion. I don't like all of my documentation locked up behind a license fee, and especially I don't like it locked up behind a license fee in someone else's servers. So yeah, that's how I feel about that. Software you use, I noticed web filter for on-device filtering. More information on that. I we use Zoros. There's a click. There's I don't know what information are you looking for? The company we use is called well, it's a link in there, so that's there. This is the company we use for web filtering. I'm not sure what the question is. Stream Networks is all about licensing fee. All of which for licensure becomes a paperweight. They provide excellent support. Yeah, that's a lot of them. Could you use crowdsource? Could you crowdsource the fingerprint infos like CrowdSec? If you could get everybody to do it, you need someone to do that. The problem is fingerprinting is resource intensive, and how are you going to do it? CrowdSec has a business model around it that's required a lot of funding, but you know if you don't have a business model around it, how do you get people to do all that information? You have to have lots of people doing it. And by the way, CrowdSec's doing it with automation. You're talking about fingerprinting, which is not done with automation in the same way. That's where the problem is. People would have to more manually do it, which is what increases the labor cost, which makes it a paid for service. Have you thought about integrating SIM software into your company for additional growth? Um, Maybe. I've thought about it. We've done some work with Security Onion. That's been kind of my go-to SIM I recommend for a lot of people. That if you're looking to get started in understanding it, I should say. Once you go commercial, I got a lot of friends that work with the commercial ones. They're all just expensive. Yeah. Um, oh yeah, OpenSense does have the Zen Armor plugin. I've never used it in OpenSense, but I've heard about it. I think it's a paid plugin as well. I would recommend it on a NUC before I'd recommend it virtualized. Let's see. Question about Duo. Are you using an account with multiple clients? We have a lot of the clients because we do co-managed IT. They own the account, not me. Duo has an MSP program though too. They have a reseller program, I believe. But because we do co-managed IT, for some of them, people have their own accounts. Any new guide on how to set up WireGuard or Tailscale? I don't have a site-to-site video. I keep referring to Christian McDonald's one because I haven't had time to do my own. But I have a pfsense WireGuard video for setting up remote access. Your clients ask ask for antivirus or outside of your business. For us, we use SentinelOne and Huntress. This is what we give our clients. If you're not one of our clients, you just want to know which is the best one to use the Microsoft one. It actually works pretty good. Did you use Linux in back in your photographer days? No. I always did Lightroom. Lightroom and Photoshop when I was doing photography. Do you use 802 certificate authorization? If yes, which solution you use? How do UniFi handles it? We don't have it set up in my office. We've set it up for people. So I don't have it set up in my office. We've got it set. I forgot. I mean, I think we all integrated it with our my Steve, one of my techs. He does it. He's done it for a few people. I don't remember exactly how he did it. Have I ever tried Snipe IT for documentation? Snipe IT is more about inventory. I don't really think it does the documentation. So let me pull it up so people know what I'm talking about, because this is open source asset management. So I don't know how well it works for documentation. I know about it, but I haven't used it. Features, mobile friendly, one click Google API, admin, asset management, license management, email notifications. But it's an asset manager. It's cool, but I don't need an asset manager. So do you have any further details on the lack of ZFS support in Ubuntu? Nope. I have no details on that. Smash the like button. We'll go with that. How many people like it? 113. Always have more. Where recurring comes easy when you look at allowed IPs, kind of like routing table entry. Well, yeah, and they are, because WireGuard has to have its own routing table to get things back and forth. I want to create a wireless VLAN in pfSense. If I have an extra NIC for that network, you can. That is possible. Hoodoo is an option. Hoodoo is the same problem, though. They have a license fee recurring on it. You don't own the software. You get to host it, though. Hoodoo at least allows you to host it, but they have a license fee. Granted, their license fee is a whole lot less than the other companies, but I always look at any company that does that. It's referred to as a land grab. You get some funding, you build a product, you make it cheaper than everybody else's product, you sell to a VC, then you raise the prices. That's how the VC gets all their money back out of it. And there's nothing about them that makes me think they are going to do it. And there's nothing about them that makes me think they're not going to do it. I don't have any evidence other than that's what most companies do in the modern age. They do the land grab, do it cheap, get a big user base, get lots of people using it, and then they dial up the fees. And they're like, oh man, this VC that loaned us the money, they turns out they want some of it back at a higher return. My next project, we set up a WireGuard and a Pi to pull backups from our main server. So figure out how to set it up to be an independent of the local network it will be in. So, yep. I use UniFi for my installs. No stock. With what solution would you recommend? Hotel Wi-Fi that is solid. Boy, when it comes to that, I have no recommendations, because all the big manufacturers, if I even suggested something like Cisco, which is obviously substantially more expensive, Cisco is so many months out. We've actually had better luck getting UniFi equipment than we could getting some of the other equipment, because there is little as UniFi is available. There's still more. There's even longer wait times on some of the other commercial equipment. So yeah, there's nothing easy about that. Going with fiber in my home lab for 10 gig backbone, mostly because it allows me to have fanless SFP plus switch. I wouldn't go fiber. I would go DAC. Just get a DAC cable. I have a video. I have a video where I explain fiber and DAC, and they're the same transfer speed, but DAC actually is even slightly lower power than fiber, and it's less expensive too. So, yeah. What about using a wiki for IT documentation? Lots of people do it. So that's definitely a popular solution. This is one of the other ones. Let me pull it up. I'm looking at different wikis because we want to build out a new documentation platform. And let me see if I can share this one. So we'll do. Cool. All right. I can share this page. We just got a switch quota to be shipped in 400 days. That sounds right. Thoughts on UniFi Dream Router that is out of early access? I think it's going to have the same shortcomings that every UniFi has. That's my thought. Until UniFi gets better software, they can release all the new hardware they want. Until they fix their software shortcomings, it doesn't change anything. That's why people are like, oh, Tom, there's a new device. Can you review it? Maybe, but it doesn't change the fact that the software still has the same shortcomings, because people seem to think when UniFi releases a new device, maybe that one will have the WireGuard VPN or the Open VPN that they're looking for. And I'm like, no. You could actually get those features in the current devices if UniFi updates the software to support it. UniFi, and I've only looked at it a little bit. UniFi is looking at the UID platform, where you have UniFi controlling identity management for some of their VPN stuff. I'm slowly looking at it, but I don't know that I trust having a cloud portal for identity management. I don't know. I'm not big on it. Hi, Tom from Calgary. Do you have any tips for used Intel quad port NICs that aren't counterfeit? I want to get one, but I'm so scared picking up maybe a new pfSense box that is a fake. I don't have any tips on that. There's people who have the Intel stickers on there, but I don't know how to tell. Look at the reviews from the buyer. That's my guess. Yeah, the trick to getting them is watching the store like that. Yes. Have you considered cleaning up your YouTube channel? I set up pfSense router and found your videos. When I searched your channel, I found updated videos. Can you delete the outdated ones? I have debated about that. I don't know, because like I might go back and say there's new version of this video available, but to me it seems obvious if you're watching a version 2.4 video that you would check the channel, because this is what I do, to see if they have a version 2.6 current release video. Maybe I'll update the tags, but part of the other reason, sometimes people like those videos because they still get engagement. They still help dramatically with my SEO. And 3, sometimes people want to reference an old thing so they understand, because they're stuck in some old version of pfSense. They want to reference how to do something. So if I take those videos down, I'm hurting my SEO, and people lose that reference of what something looked like in that particular video. Also, sometimes my older videos, I don't have a newer version of it. And with pfSense, even if you looked at a version 2.4 video, much of the stuff is the same, even though the menus look different. You could figure out, oh, I can go through and watch this video and apply it to current things. So I don't know. DocuWiki works surprisingly well, but yeah, too lazy for all that. Unified disappointment router. Yeah, I've said that before. Started as a home lab enthusiast with MS TechNet back in 2014. No IT education. Just got hired in a 3-line position. You've been one of my inspiration. Awesome. Congratulations on all that. That is great. I love people seeing getting their career going. Do you know any good software that allows you to use one keyboard and mouse on multiple systems on the network? 8 computers, 1 deck. Yes. I actually use a tool called Barrier for that. So I will also drop a link for you here. Pull it up on YouTube. I'll give a shout out to my friend Veronica. BRI. Here we go. We're going to share a fun video that I'm going to drop a link in for. Barrier is the tool. There's a link I just dropped in here. Veronica did a video on Barrier. So, and it's accurate. I watched it, and Barrier works great for exactly what you want to do. Serve the Home has some good tips on finding good Intel i350s. Yeah, Serve the Home is a good resource for a lot of things on there. It would be a nightmare for the UID platforms to get compromised like it had last year with their employee who had full access and created all the drama. Yeah, I just don't like a lot of third-party auth stuff. I'm not a huge fan of it all the time. It's already done because it has to be for reasons like with Google or Azure, and I know someone's going to lose it, but Okta is still a popular solution. Those are pretty big companies handling it with a lot of expertise. UniFi is a company that doesn't do good technical support, but wants to handle identity management. They have to have a better technical support contract or reputation, I should say, in order to make me think they're better at, a lot of that. Is it possible to have multiple TCP UDP ports in the same rule? Aliases only have port numbers, but not protocols. Yeah, you can have a rule be TCP and UDP simultaneously. Put them in the old playlist. Look, this is what thing I mentioned at the very beginning. I could hire someone that could just clean up my channel because it takes a lot of time to do so. That's something, like I said, I'm kind of looking at. I do all the editing. I do all the production. I do all I'm the person in the videos. That part's obvious. I'm the one creating all the content. And I haven't found anyone. My staff are all technical people, not creatives. So they don't deal with any of this. So yeah, I need to hire more people to curate that because I've got 1,500 videos on my channel. And I've reduced it. I have taken videos that are not relevant anymore and removed them because I know they're inaccurate because the product has changed so much and I have a newer video. So there's times I've done it or especially if the company goes out of business or the product goes out of business type thing, I may remove those if they're not relevant anymore and they're not helpful. And I'm positive I didn't get them all. There's always more things related to that. Trying out zero tier, any real concerns that something could pivot from the virtual adapter to the local network adapter? Of course it can. If something is talking to the adapters on your computer, they have access to talk to the adapters on your computer. You make sure you manage the control plane, and also IP should not be the authentication model. IP is a transport, so you have your IP and zero tier talking, but it shouldn't be how things are authenticated. So it shouldn't really be too much of a risk, but there is some level of risk that yes, if you have a bad node within the nodes you have running zero tier or any of these overlay type networks, and you have combine that with a vulnerability on your system that can be exploited, there's a risk. Don't delete the old stuff. You're specific enough with versions to keep it straight. From a standard pfSense 2.5, there can be difficulty. I don't have any problem in upgrading. I've upgraded a lot of them. We had a couple 3100s that gave us some trouble during the upgrade, but most systems upgraded from 2.5 to 2.6 fine. My biggest beef with UniFi is UI can't do exclude rules in the firewall. Oh, yeah. That's not my biggest beef, but that can just be added onto the pile. No way I would trust the UID platform. Can't wait to see the use UniFi EV charger. Oh, yeah, that's right. They did that. That'd be good incentive to ask your kids to organize your playlist for you. They can earn money for that. My kids do not have an interest in it, nor would they be good stewards of it. They are not technical. My daughters work in medical. They're also busy working in medical. Do a video on DOS 6.2. I probably could. We'll do a DOS 6.2 review. Just got your Mac Mini and a 10 gig. Want people to remotely gain experience with Mac, even a full-time Linux user. Yeah, Mac is interesting. And I think you have a really good point there, Grayson. As much as you don't want to put Linux to shame, accessibility is far superior on Mac when it comes to visual impairment. Yes, I think their UI designers have taken probably more time and consideration for that aspect of it. I get using TCP/UDP, however, when using a port aliases, you're allowing all the ports and alias for both protocols, which might allow for continuity. I don't understand what rule you're trying to create that wouldn't solve. So, any thoughts on Sophos XG versus pfSense? I prefer pfSense and don't have a reason to use Sophos XG. So, but Sophos XG is also a proprietary firewall, not an open source one, and they give you a home license. Now, here's the fun thing. Home licenses that companies offer for free, like Untangle, that might decide they don't want to do that no more when a company buys them, or they just change their mind. That's an interesting aspect where we're down one more firewall in terms of free. We still use Untangle ourselves. We're still selling it for businesses. We're still an Untangle partner. But that being said, Untangle has decided to not just offer the free download like they used to. You have to do registrations now and things like that. They're pretty much dropping the free version is what they did. This is always what worries about some of these other companies. It's it's refer back to 15 minutes ago me talking about Hoodoo. What's Hoodoo doing? They're a documentation platform that's well underpriced of their competitors. What does that mean? They're going to grab market share from their competitors who have substantially higher prices and then maybe raise the prices. I don't know that they are. I'm being speculative. Untangle got bought by a very large company. Untangle is very popular. Untangle had a free platform that they removed when the big company bought them. That happens. So, yeah. Think your daughter will start to get into medical, not tech. Much less changing stuff. Yeah, the appendixes are still the appendixes, and lungs are still lungs. So, you convinced me with the Untangle analogy. Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, I don't really know what happens. I did they stop doing updates for all the free people? I don't really know. I haven't really dug into it. I just know when you go to their website and try to download the free Untangle, it's not there anymore. They still offer a paid home user license, so it makes sense. Oh, and this is another good example. Just like Google dropping the free G Suite plan you signed up for. Yeah, I mean, Google can absolutely afford to keep giving people the free G Suite. Why did they stop? What is you know, it's just one of those things. My biggest disappointment regarding UDM was allowed their VLAN routing by default instead of blocking. Ah, this is interesting. So when you create networks on there, unless the networks are guest networks, you have to put deny rules in because it default allows. So yes, there is definitely that's why I don't consider it. I mean, any firewall company that does it in that methodology, it's not really something for the enterprise. I don't know. That's how I feel. Oh, yeah. Maybe another example is Red Hat plus IBM minus. See, it's minus CentOS 8 because that's where that went. Not wrong. Well, there's one thing. Yes, printers will always be evil. The printers being awful are what is going to actually bring us to a world with less printers. Yeah. Oh, yes. Google Reader. Um, Here, we'll just if you're gonna have fun with a company, I mean, you just gotta head on over to the killedbygoogle.com. All the things that Google killed. So many things in the graveyard. Yeah, this was interesting. I used to be able to message people on YouTube. That went away. I forgot about that. Yeah, that's a list, ain't it? Look at that. Wow. YouTube streams? Yeah. This is a cool one too. They were doing this before it was cool when they had YouTube streams. I don't know if anyone remembers that, but it was a cool feature. It's gone. Yes. You know, Google is what would you call them? They're literally like an engine that only gets things that bubble up with the absolute most popularity with no concern to the actual number that it may be a lot of people using it. So, yeah, it's weird. Got caught in G Suite now. Do not move your mailboxes to GoDaddy. If you can do something else other than GoDaddy, you're better off. GoDaddy is an awful company to have mailboxes at. I literally just want my own custom name with Google spam filtering, but they're bundling team video conferencing G Drive. Yeah, it's not cheap. How would you make a rule allowing TCP 3389, 636, and 123 in the same rule? You would not. You would make one for the TCP 389 and 636 and another one for the UDP. Because those are different, because those are separate rules at that point. So you could create an alias for 389 and 636. So that's a two rule request. Microsoft also increased their prices for M365. Sure did. They sure did. I hate printers. We're just gonna throw that comment up there for a minute because we all agree. We can all disagree. We hate printers. Why buy a cloud product? Yeah. Uh, so just me, the Unified Dream Machine, Wi-Fi, super random. Uh, I Wi-Fi is random. I don't rely on Wi-Fi for that reason. Throw stuff at the wall and see what sticks. Well, they look at feedback based on large numbers. If the numbers are large enough, they keep doing it. They're an engine for that. Thanks to you, I started using pfSense. I've learned a lot. Awesome. Happy to help. What is your take on Nextcloud talk versus Matrix or NP versus Team versus Slack? We're using the Google Chat ourselves. I also use Slack a lot with communicating with a lot of other businesses. Um, I think it's cool that Nextcloud and all those companies are offering it. I don't run it though for interoperability reasons. It's the challenge of switching. Now, granted, there are plugins that allow better interoperability, and I thought about doing this because there's actually a way, I don't remember the name of the project now. There's a project that lets you bring all of your chat to one place. So everyone else can use all the different things they use, but you can communicate in one way. But that then always breaks any type of image sharing. It's really only good for text. We need better interoperability between them would be the ideal thing, but we're not there. Yes, I always like that. I seen that tweet. Rage Against the Machine. They never specified what kind of machine, so they're angry about, but we can assume it was a printer. Absolutely. Eyes are being displayed to website. Why not dark thing? I don't know. We'll turn that off. When are you going to learn IPv6? IPv4 is running out soon. I'm not worried about it. There's the what was that? I don't want to get taken down, but I'll give you guys a link to it. Uh, so we will share this. I don't know if there's a copyright on it, but for those of you that haven't heard it, I post this every now and then. This is such a great um song someone wrote when the routers died when we ran out of IPv4. It's a parody song. I throw it in there. Yeah, IPv4 is going to run out soon. Everyone keeps telling me that. I keep laughing. Look, there's a reason we keep inventing new ways to work around the fact that there's not enough IP addresses. That's not news. That's not news. Let's see. What else do we have in here? It's not Pigden. There's actually a whole server you can run that does interconnectivity between Discord, Slack, and a bunch of other things. It's kind of clever. I can't remember the name of the project. They're using it over at MSP Geek to connect, so you can have your chat in different channels at the same time because they're trying to migrate to Discord from Slack. And they built it's a bridging software essentially that can bridge, but can also consolidate some of your chat stuff. I know Pigden was one of them that lets you do that too from an individual basis. Yes, we have double, triple NAT, everything like CG NAT. So that's for sure. Yes, we ran out a long time ago. It's really not new. Do you think when public goes IPv, I don't think the public's going to go IPv6. I think there will be a different way we communicate. Like TCP/IP, I almost feel will become obsolete prior to you switching to IPv6. Maybe I'm wrong, but I'm not concerned about it. Well, actually, most of the phone stuff here. So, like you said, the 4G in France is IPv6. A lot of the phone stuff here, the phones themselves are IPv6, but then they use an IPv4 for converter in case they talk to a website that's not. So, yes, I'm actually thinking quantum entanglement is how we'll replace things. We're gonna actually get that figured out. So we're gonna do some quantum entanglement systems to where they can all talk to each other without wires and wireless, and we'll just quantum entangle two systems when we need data in two places and communication to occur. Yeah, no one wants to deal with it. You wouldn't happen to be thinking of Godify? Maybe. I'd have to look it up. Uh, NAT has become some sort of security to some extent. Yeah. Zapier has a way to do it too. There's actually a project where you run it on a server to connect all these together. So someone said it was Godify. I'll Google it real quick. That's just a push notification service, so that's not it. But there's ways to bridge these things together to get things talking. But yeah. Yeah, quantum entanglement troubleshooting. Can you turn it on then on again? Turn it off then on again? Yes, it's both. Is it in an observed or unobserved state? That's what we need to know. Are you observing it right now? Turn your head away. Yeah, troubleshooting quantum entanglement. That would be that's a great that should be a that's going to be a talk at some point in time. I don't use the Cloudflare proxy. And here's my thing about any of those type of things. The anytime a proxy is somewhat proprietary, I just go away from it. Or any service, it doesn't have to be a proxy. Any service that has a proprietary level tied to one company, I'm less interested in that particular project. So it's not that I don't use certain projects like that. So I've not really taken the time to look at it. And some people seem to like it. I don't really have an opinion on it, but I don't like because once you have something tied to a specific company and only they support it, if they change their minds about supporting it, then it just goes away and breaks everything you built. It's the same reason we had this discussion about development when over the weekend I was at a conference. And we had this whole big discussion about development standards and not building something that isn't cloud agnostic. So many people take the time to build these applications and then take the resources that are offered by the cloud provider, whether that's AWS, whether it's Azure, whether it's Google, and they integrate proprietariness into it. So they end up with a dependency on that cloud provider and then an inability to switch later if something changes. So I'm always try to do everything as much as possible standards based. So it's the Cloudflare problem. Like I don't know enough about it to know, but as far as I can tell, it's something proprietary to Cloudflare. Not that it's not a good product, but I don't want to be tied to an individual company. But if you don't have another solution and that's the solution that works for you and it works, great. It works until it doesn't. Wildcard SAN V specifying full quota inserts. What do you prefer? Why not wildcard it? I don't know. Do you need a cert with your SAN? I guess it depends. That needs a lot more context to answer. You can bridge services with Matrix, probably a pain to set up though. Yeah, there's probably something like that. Oh, Schrodinger's support, the unobserved support. Yes. Do we switch clients to pfSense as part of onboarding? No, we don't. Have you thought about doing a video, iPhone, Android as a backup WAN for pfSense? Nope, never thought about it. I don't really have a use case for that. I don't know how possible it is. I don't know if there's a easy way to do that at all. I mean, buying a Wi-Fi hotspot would be the better way to do it that has a network adapter on it. That makes more sense. And that's just plug it into a WAN and it works. You've seen talking about the possible speed limitations in TCP/IP. I don't know what you're talking about. So I don't think that's where our speed limitations are. I mean, there are always speed limitations for certain things, but I'm not sure exactly. I don't understand your question. We have 100 gig TCP, so we have, the internet has large pipes that are able to move it, and they move it using that protocol. So I'm not exactly sure where your question is. Synology warns of net ATOC bugs in multiple products. No, don't become QNAP. They already are better than QNAP because they have patches rolling out. QNAP does not. um, I talked about this earlier in the show, but yes, we're aware. I tweeted it. Synology's rolling out updates. They've already got it updated in their 7.1 DSM. So they're coming out with updates versus QNAP may eventually. I don't know. And Trans, they already had the update a few weeks ago. So we have definitely a problem there, but it's also in the Apple Net A talk. I know people are using it, but I hope people aren't using it. But I always say that. Why is 2.5 gig all the rage? I want 5 gig in my Cat 5 house, but can't find any switches that support for less 1K. I don't get excited about it at all. People seem to be excited about it. I'm not particularly excited about it. I like 10 gig. You can do 10 gig pretty cheap now, but 2.5 gig works over the distances people want, and the chips are inexpensive enough. This switch right here that I'll be reviewing is a 2.5 gig and 10 gig switch. So it's got some 2.5 gig ports, but yeah, the 5 gig ones, at some point, just go 10 gig. The 10 gig with SFP for home lab is cheaper generally. Just bought a new Verizon hotspot and has an Ethernet port. Yeah, that's the solution that works. Like if you just get a hotspot with an Ethernet port and you plug it into pfSense. There's nothing special you have to do. Now, a lot of those are going to be like CG natted, but you're looking for backup internet. So you want the internet to work, there's a solution to get it working. Oh no, it's worth mentioning again. I don't think it's not a big deal that you brought that up with the QNAP, because there's probably a different group of people that are here now, and there's certainly more people here now than when I first started the stream. So you want to go 10 gig everywhere, but might as well go 40 gig for the backbone. Yeah, the 40 gig stuff and the 25 gig stuff is all the prices are becoming more reasonable on it. My long company cuts your cable internet. Has a USB drive. Yeah, there's ways to do it. I don't know. We outsource the pen testing. We have third parties we work with if people need pen testing. People always ask for pen testing, then they go, "Oh, that's expensive," and don't always get it. So it starts out as, "Oh yeah, we're gonna go do all this," and they go, "Oh wow, a real good pen tester costs a lot of money, huh?" Have you checked out Frigate NVRs? They have enough hardware looking to set up a security system. Nope, never used them. We use a lot of Synology. I would go 10 gig, but I want to rewire Cat 7. You would be shocked at how good 10 gig works over Cat 5. Not a guarantee it works, but you'd be shocked at how often it works. I've talked in my video about out of spec cabling, just how good that works. So that's something worth noting. You don't always have to recable if it's a home lab. It's not going to pass certification. I'm not saying do this in a business, but for people with home labs that want 10 gig, try plugging a Cat 5 cable in if you have a short distance. You'll probably find it works. So yeah. Did you see the article about NAT slipstreaming and cording? That's an old article. That's unless there's something new. I think it was like over a year ago I've talked about that. Wi-Fi 6E Aruba. I don't care about the Wi-Fi reviews. People like them. I've thought about doing them because it gets views, but it's so lame because the speeds are so inconsistent across devices. There's not like this perfect consistency unless you take the time to put things in a Faraday cage. But then you're also not representing real world usage in a Faraday cage because most people don't have their stuff is in a Faraday cage. How much does a data breach cost? It depends. If you're some of those clients that are in non-compliance industries, it costs them nothing because they don't tell anyone. Non-compliance industries like manufacturing, they don't care. There's nothing to force them when they do it. We've known people that have it, but if they don't lose real client data, privacy stuff, there's not a lot of incentive they have to do anything about it. Yes, I updated one computer so far to the new Pop OS. It works great. The problem with Frigga is that it depends on Google Corral. Oh, okay. So it's the same old slipstreaming thing. Yeah. Will it blend 75-foot run Cat 5e? Maybe. That's a maybe. It might be able to do Cat 5 E 75 feet. Might work for it's iffy at that distance. I mean, but try it. Worst case is you plug it in, it doesn't work, and then you upgrade it. Just because the spec says it can't do it doesn't mean it won't work. I go by the book when it's for a customer, for myself, out of spec for all sorts of stuff. Exactly. Not to mention, if you're using SATA drives, you'll bottleneck the drive before you use all the 10 gig network. That's true too. Yep. Wish me luck. One of my drives in a RAID Z1 failed. Ooh. Yeah, you don't have a proper backup. So it's a careful resilvering. Hopefully your resilvering goes well and there's no more losses. Would you recommend, instead of a Fluke cable analyzer, even used ones? Fluke is pretty much, if you're going to do certification of cables, Fluke is pretty much the big boys out there. So probably the Fluke. I don't use cable certifiers, so I don't know all the brands to recommend them. Switch to UniFi APs, roaming devices. Tweaking RSSI helps some, makes it worse for other devices. Yeah. How to trace, understand VoIP traffic. I have a Wireshark video on how to reassemble VoIP traffic. So hopefully that, just look on my channel for VoIP and Wireshark, and I got a video where I show how to reassemble a call. How's your car? I had to reboot my Tesla 2 months ago. So far, it seems fine. I haven't had any reboots lately. Did I do anything recently? Probably not. Oh, here, there's my Tesla next to. I was at a car show over the weekend, or last weekend, but that's the new Hummer. So that's the new Hummer EV, but that's haven't had to reboot my Tesla in a little while. So that's good. Manage 2.5 gig switches. UniFi. But I am reviewing. I think this one's managed. This is an Ingenious one. I haven't reviewed it yet, but this is a Ingenious Layer 2 managed PoE Plus switch. I don't even know the price on it. I have it to review and haven't had a chance to review it yet. Just by the background, you knew I was in Ann Arbor. Yep. That place has got some good food too. That's the Zimmerman's Roadhouse. They got good barbecue. I've had a client last week with logical RAID 5 error, luckily C drive, which is easy to back up. Had to replace 4 of the 6 drive. No data was lost. Awesome. I've seen it a few times. Once at IKEA, once at EA Charger, and once on A4. Oh, you're talking about my car. Yeah. Yeah, my car's not hard to miss. So there's I don't know a lot of people who have a Tesla with that color on it. So definitely stands out a bit. Oh, the Hummer. Okay. Yeah, the Hummer's pretty cool. Saw the Hummers out at Silver Lake Dunes, Sand Dunes last year before they unveiled. Yeah, they're pretty cool. The Hummer does look nice. The Hummer's expensive though. So it's a pretty pricey vehicle. But it's cool looking. It's 9,000 pounds of vehicle there, man. 9,000 pounds. So yeah, they're big. Let's see. Yes, Wireshark has some built-in VoIP filters. Travis will stick with the truck. 125 for the launch ones, right? I don't remember the pricing on them, but something like that. I know they're going to be 125 plus. They're going to be expensive. Thank you very much for the donation. It is greatly appreciated. So awesome. Yeah, you didn't have any other comments to add, so I'll just say thank you. Thank you for all the work you do and help educate us all. I have fun doing it. It's I actually have a lot of fun because it forces me sometimes to understand things better when you have to take the time to teach them. So it's kind of a two-way street. I actually learn a lot when I'm doing these videos and putting them all together. And then the feedback I get from people for concepts that they also need help with. So, hey, congratulations for starting your own IT company over in Germany. That is awesome. So that's definitely a challenge starting it up. I don't know what challenges you face in Germany starting it up, but hopefully it all goes very well for you. Anytime you start a business, there's a lot of risk and a lot of challenges for it. So, did you say you were coming to Chicago next week for yes, I am. I will be in Chicago next week. So for those of you looking for me in Chicago, I was kind of surprised. I mean, not that it's more niche. I was at Penguin Con over the weekend. So I didn't see maybe just a couple of people that knew me that were there. But then I will be in Chicago at the MSP IT event. So my thoughts on Zabbix versus other software. I like Zabbix. The proof is I use it. I haven't really tested every one of them out there. And once you get one set up that you like and it works, you just keep using it. We use Zabbix to monitor our internal infrastructure. It works well. I've actually watched it survive upgrades over the years too. So as a curious kid, I took things apart. I did that as well, and to figure out how they work. As an adult, you watch Wireshark. Yes, taking apart TCP streams. When will I come to Europe? I don't know. That's not on my priority list right now. I don't have anything against it. I actually don't have a passport. So I am not authorized to leave my country because I've never bothered getting a passport. I've never left the country either. Well, I take that back. I have gone to Canada, but that doesn't really feel like leaving the country. As a matter of fact, because now they require the special license to go to Canada. I don't have that anymore. So I let it lapse. I need to get, if I want to, I don't know. I don't travel much. How's that? I travel virtually. Never use ZenOS monitoring. Probably all of us took apart stuff, see how it worked when we were kids. Yeah, that's the nature of technical people, right? We took everything apart. Take it all apart. I need to see the world. Yeah, I think so. It seems like I should. I don't know, maybe one day. I don't have a burning desire to do it, That's part of it too. Like I have the means to travel, I just don't all the time. So it's pretty easy to do. I had to do it when I moved for VA. My wife has a passport because she likes to travel more so than me. I used to stick stuff in EL outlet for kicks. Well, when will you retire? I have no idea. I have no intention right now of retiring, so I don't have that answer. I could not concisely answer the retirement question at all. Great way to see the world is watching train cat. Man, there's a lot of those streams. There's those people. The ones in Tokyo are popular where people just wander around Tokyo with a camera on their head. I like that. Looks cool. I've now seen Tokyo. Yeah, I don't think I'd go to the UK for the food, but I'd go for the castles. The castles are cool. I do like some of the cool old country castles and things like that. There's an appeal of that. Yeah, I don't. That's mostly why I don't retire. Do I want to buy Twitter? I think the guy that bought it, I don't know if he's going to put it up for sale or not at a price I can afford. We'll have to see. If a deal, if Elon offers me Twitter for a good deal, I guess, but I don't know that I want the headache of it. So you just have a lot of angry people on there and a lot of bots. So that's and there's Twitter Twitter's a dumpster fire now, and I don't have the best hope that Elon will make it any more or less of a dumpster fire. So I have no faith that it's going to get better. Hopefully it doesn't get worse. That's all. The best is we hope it doesn't get worse. I was happy yesterday with OpenSense, but couldn't get the 2.5 gig NIC drivers working. So something not everybody realizes is the 2.5 gig network drivers were written by Netgate. They do the BSD contribution to the Intel drivers because Intel doesn't care about BSD. So just use pfsense, who did take the time to put the drivers together. That's my recommendation. Let's see. No desire to travel, but I do enjoy doing it with family. I like to go meet people. That is something I do enjoy. I used to take stuff apart as a kid to see a psychologist as well. Yeah. Are blade enclosures worth it if you need super high density? Sure. That's why they make them. How long until Elon integrates into the Tesla UI? I am not going to hold my breath on such things that thinking that they will ever happen. I just don't really see that as a thing. Let me pull this up. There we go. Although I do like that. Is that the new logo? That's what we want to know. Hey, Tom, welcome to UK. I could even hook you up with a motorbike tour. Now that would be cool. I'm a big motorcycle person, so yes, that's people like the logo. I do like motorcycles, so I'm all for that. I am sinking in my chair. I should probably sit up a little bit. I'm like disappearing off the screen as I squat down here. What's the best way to nightly backup to our TuneAS off-site site-to-site VPN? Yes, put a site-to-site VPN and use replication. So yeah, I like that. I don't know. That was that's the one good thing that's come out of that is the what do you call it? The Twitter purchase is that. So yeah. Turn the Tesla cars into Twitter bots. We'll go with that. But trying to deal with the customer, we brought over from previous driver, lost all ESA passwords, no vCenter managing them, fun stuff. Yeah. Do I like rain? Funny you should ask. Yes, apparently I do. I got caught in a storm the other day. So I was like, hey, I'll take this picture of the storm rolling in really fast. And yeah, there's me on the bike. I was like, yep. I was like, this is the picture before, this is the last dry picture of Tom before that rain clouds came in. So yeah, I'm used to, sometimes you get caught in the rain. Do you track all hours or just billable hours for your staff? Just billable, really. I don't track every minute of their day. I don't make them log what they're doing. That would be a bit too tedious for me. I'm going to give you guys about 5 more minutes. There is an awesome amount of conversation going on here that you, by the way, can continue in the forums. But let's see. What else do we have in here? There's nothing like, it's an awkward feeling if you're sitting on a motorcycle in the rain. It's just this awkwardness of, I'm here. You got people in their car going, that guy's all wet. They always point at you like, oh, like they feel bad for you when you're on a motorcycle in the rain. You're like, I can't do anything about this. I am in this situation right now. This is me soaking wet. Yeah, I actually planned it. I got to go change the oil in my, oh, what about pizza today? Yeah. No pizza today. I dislike micromanagers. This is something that's really, I'm the anti micromanager. If a employee requires too much management, there's someone I probably can't keep at my office because I only care about results getting done. And I only have to dig into what they did instead when they're not doing things. So I generally have to have people who are very motivated to an extent to and orient themselves to a task a little bit better, because I don't want to micromanage anyone. It's not my thing. So to shift the topic, let's talk about TrueNAS. I have not stopped talking about TrueNAS. Does ECC memory bring something to TrueNAS? It brings error correction, but it's like anything. It's better to have error correction than not to have, but you're not that much more at risk of data. So, do you remember when you talked about hiring stuff in the stream? Yeah, in the first 10 minutes. Oh, yes. Let us worship ZFS. ZFS is a cult with integrity. So, I'm all for ZFS worship. Wouldn't be opposed to musty MS rush to Twitter, embrace, extend, extinguish. He might, through his own actions, goof it up to the point where it implodes. I don't know. Great channel, Tom. TrueNAS question. If a secondary server's replication on a prime server is backblaze the best to use in a primary? Yes. The ideal situation is you have your primary server. One copy goes up to this cloud, to the sky that is Backblaze or wherever backup you choose. The other one can be replicated to another offsite server or even onsite server. We replicate to onsite servers and then we replicate to Backblaze. Well, they're happening simultaneously. I can't even see they're staggered. We kick off all those processes at night. They run coinciding with each other, which is fine because, well, one's moving data locally, so it's lateral movement, not taking up the internet pipe. So yeah, but you don't want to. I mean, you can replicate to another server and have that server do it if that strategy is what you want. But you got to remember the snapshots are what's being sent, not the live data. When you run the Backblaze, it's grabbing the data as it sees it when it starts the process. So you have to think about timing on that. So if I replicate my data, then do it, the data is now older that you're getting from the other one versus newer, depending on the time you run it. So think about that from a concept when you're doing the backups. Twitter is purging the bots. They're always trying to purge the bots. It's actually really, really hard to do. So concept, sure, purge them. Reality, Wisdom of Nick H device for 1 gig internet connection without IDS or VPN. I think that 4100 now is the base. 2100 should do it, but the 2100 is going to be just under 1 gig, I think. Maybe the 2100 can do it. If not, you're going to have to go 4100. Musk wants and then encrypted Twitter DMs, just like Signal. Use Signal. He uses Signal. He's tweeted about it. I've done a series of videos on Signal. Then Elon Musk tweets about Signal. The comments on the video, hey, this guy must be real because he pushed his video out before Elon Musk tweeted about it. There was a lot of those comments on there. Elon sent me. Shit, that was funny. Thank you, Tom. Really kind of you. Got the 2 servers on one site, built in separate buildings. Very good point about the size, duration of data. Yeah, just kind of strategies you think about on there for doing it. Tom, what told you most? A 3, 2, 1, or for what exactly? I need some more context for that question. But ask it in my forums because I'm going to wander off. I have a couple things I got to go do. None of them are pizza. I've actually got to change the oil on one of my motorcycles. So that's my exciting non-technical project that I'll be working on next. Because me and some friends are going off-roading this weekend, so I figured, hey, why not change the oil into motorcycles? So, and no one wants to hear me talk about motorcycles on this channel, and I don't plan on starting a motorcycle channel. I don't have time for that. Because that's been asked a couple times about starting like non-tech related channels, but I'm pretty boring and don't really narrate on that. So, all right. So everyone, have a wonderful day. Have a wonderful Thursday. And for those of you that are in the other time zones, it'll be Friday morning for you now, I think. I think that's where it is in Europe. I forget what the time zone split is, but stay safe, be happy, and hit me up in the forums if you have more detailed answers you're looking for and more detailed questions to ask. We want more hot sauces. I still have, I'll mention it, Chris. Yes, I'm still happy with Sync Thing. So, so happy that Tessa really pleased with reliability, but sure the plugin downloaded. I don't know. Yeah. So, okay. So it's almost, 22:32. It's almost Friday for you guys. Awesome. So thanks to everyone for came and enjoying it. Thanks for everyone smashing the like button, and I'll see you. Well, I got videos I'm posting between now and Thursday. If not, those of you that join the live stream, I'll chat with you on Thursday. Thanks.